Hello, students. In this class, let's look into the various business objectives. Every business enterprise has certain objectives which regulate and generate its activities. Objectives are needed in every area where performance and results directly affect survival and prosperity of a business. The first and most important responsibility of a business manager is to achieve the business objectives of the firm he manages. We know that business firm is an economic institution functioning within a certain political and socio-cultural framework. As such, the business objectives are to be framed within the socio-cultural framework. It was always believed that the primary objective of a business firm is to make profit. That is why the conventional theory of firm assumes profit maximization as the sole objective of business firms. But few economists like William J. Baumol, who is an authority on business economics, remarked that firms and their executives are often not clear about the objectives they pursue. However, profit maximization is regarded as the most common objective of business firms. Here, we will discuss briefly the objectives of business firms suggested by economists. The various objectives that are discussed are generally discussed under three heads. One, profit maximization, alternative objectives, and other objectives. And we also discuss human, social, and national objectives. Now let's look into the first one, namely profit maximization. The conventional economic theory assumes profit maximization as the only objective of business firms and forms the basis of conventional price theory. Just as a person cannot live without food, remember, a business firm also cannot survive without profit. Profits enable a businessman to stay in business by maintaining intact the wealth producing capacity of its resources. Profit is also necessary for the expansion and growth of business. It ensures continuous flow of capital for the modernization and extension of business operations in future. But today, most of the firms have come to realize that earning reasonable profit pays in the long run. Meaning to say that today firms are ready to compromise a little of their profit for other motives as well. This change in the outlook of the firms can be due to a few reasons. Let's see what are the reasons as to why the firms are ready to compromise with their little of profit in order to achieve certain other motives. They are preventing potential competition. If a firm continues to earn abnormal profits over a long time, it attracts other entrepreneurs to enter into the particular line of business. So, to avoid these existing firms from entering into the market, They prefer to compromise with their profits and be satisfied with only reasonable profits. When we use the word reasonable profits, it does not it means that the firms don't aim at achieving abnormal profits, because once they aim for abnormal profits, there is every possibility of many potential competitors entering into the same line of business. That's why today firms may aim at only reasonable profits in order to prevent potential competition. And the next is preventing government intervention. Earning abnormal profits or surplus profits by any firm result in monopoly, and the attention of the government is automatically drawn there. In order to prevent government from interfering in any kind in their business firm, they see that they don't aim at achieving surplus profits. So today the firms are ready to give up a little of their profits, that is, go only for reasonable profits in order to avoid government from interfering in their ways of functioning. And the next reason is maintaining consumer goodwill. One of the objectives of earning reasonable profit is to win the goodwill of the customers. And the next is attainment of industry leadership. Sometimes an aspiring firm tries to attain the leadership in the industry, and this is possible only by capturing the market. And if you want to capture a major share in the market, there is every reason of achieving only reasonable profits. And the next one is restraining the demand for higher wages. The labor unions are watchful to get the rates of wages increased, and they get this opportunity when they see that the firm is making abnormal profits. In order to avoid such situations, mostly the firms prefer to make normal profits. Which means to say that the employees of a firm always try to get more wages when they see that the firm is making abnormal profits, which automatically increases the cost for the firm. So, in order to restrain the demand for higher wages, today the firms aim at achieving only reasonable profits. And there is yet another concept, namely sales maximization. This is a very important concept. There is always there is a difference between profit maximization and sales maximization. In fact, they contradict each other. What is sales maximization? Sales maximization is an alternative goal to profit maximization, which means to say that profit maximization and sales maximization do not go together. Sales maximization means maximization of the sales revenue. The objective of a firm is one of a constrained maximization, where the firm maximizes total revenue subject to minimum profit constraint. Firms prefer maximization of sales revenue for various reasons. First of all, financial institutions usually evaluate the success and strength of a firm in terms of rate of growth of its sales revenue. Normally, financial institutions do evaluate the success and strength. They rate the firms, and normally they rate according to the sales revenue. And Other reason is that increasing sales revenue over a period of time gives prestige to the top management, and growing sales means higher salaries and better amenities for the workers. Larger and increasing sales help the firm to obtain a bigger market share, which also gives it a greater competitive power. So, according to Professor Baumel, sales maximization evaluates the performance of the firm in a better way rather than profit maximization. Then there are other objectives. Besides maximization of profits and sales, a firm has certain economic and non economic objectives. Some of these objectives can be seen. One, creating customers. The customer is the foundation of business. It is to supply the customer that society entrusts wealth producing resources to a business enterprise. A businessman can earn profits only when there are enough customers to buy and pay for his goods and services. That's why today the business always treats the customers as the king. Therefore, creation of customers is an important economic objective of a business. So, in order to earn profit, business must supply better quality goods and services at reasonable prices. Only then you can retain the customers and create more customers. Yet another objective is long term survival. We have the famous P.F. Drucker who says that the long term survival is the main aim of a firm. Business can survive only if it wins the goodwill of the people by producing goods and services of good quality. A firm having this aim is always cautious, and all its decisions are safety oriented, meaning to see that it tries its best to retain the quality of the products and services it produces. Such firms do not like to reap abnormal profits but prefer lower profits so that it can survive for a long period of time. Yet another objective is innovations. Business is dynamic, it is subject to changes. And in these days of competition, business can be successful only when it makes an attempt to create better designs, better machines, improved techniques, new varieties, creating better market, expanding its market, and so on. Modern science and technology have created a great scope for innovation in the business world. When we say innovation, innovation just does not merely mean invention of new machine. It comprises all efforts made in perfecting the product, minimizing the cost, and maximizing benefits to customers. Business firms intends to invest money, time and efforts in research and development to introduce innovations. That is why today in most of the large companies we see that a lot of money is being allocated, a lot of investment is happening towards research and development, because it is only through research and development innovations can be brought about, and it is only with innovations you will be able to compete in the present day world. And the next is financial soundness. Banks give preference to security to profitability because most investments happen through borrowed funds, and these funds are borrowed from the banks. And when banks provide funds to the firms, they also aim at security. They just cannot randomly lend to each and every business firm. They look into the financial soundness of a firm. And this financial soundness can be seen when a firm survives for a long period of time. So, banks, that's why we say banks give preference to security rather than profitability. The success of any firm depends on its business credit, which in turn depends on financial soundness. Financial soundness is the basic requirement on which the progress and success of any firm rests in the long run. Now, let's look into the human objectives. Human objectives require careful consideration and well being of employees, shareholders, consumers, and the government. Let's just look into some of the human objectives of the business. Business must recognize the dignity of labor and human factor should be given due recognition. Proper opportunity should be provided for utilizing individual talents and satisfying aspirations of workers. Business should ensure job satisfaction and a sense of belonging to workers. This is very, very important in the present day world. Human resources are the most valuable asset of business, and their development will help in the growth of business. Business can facilitate self development of workers by encouraging creativity and innovation among them. Employees should be allowed to take part in decision making process of business. This will help in the development of employees. Such participation will also provide valuable information to management for improving the quality of education. The consumers should be supplied with qualitative products so that they will feel satisfied. Business is also expected to pay fair return to shareholders and the creditors in the form of dividend and interest. Investors also expect safety and appreciations of their investment. So, shareholders should be taken care of. The business should have the objective of being helpful to the government. The business is the main contributor of funds to the government. Every business enterprise should pay tax dues, namely the income tax, sales tax, excise duty, customs duty, etc., to the government honestly and at the right time. Business firms should not go for tax avoidance and tax evasion. So these are some of the human objectives that every business need to have. And apart from this, we have the social objectives. The business do go in for social objectives because today business does not exist in a vacuum. It is a part of society. Today business is a part of society. It cannot just survive and grow without the support of society. Thus, business must discharge social responsibilities in addition to earning profits. That is, along with earning profits, it is a duty of these firms to discharge certain social responsibilities. So, in what way can we see these social responsibilities. Business is expected to supply the goods and services of good quality required by the society at reasonable prices. It is the social obligation of business to avoid malpractices like hoarding, black marketing, or advertising so as to mislead the customers. Advertisement by itself is not bad, but the advertisement need to portray the genuine quality of the product. It should not be misleading. Employees must be given fair wages and salary. That's another social responsibility. A reasonable part of profits should be distributed among employees in recognition of their contributions. Such sharing of profits will help to increase the motivation and efficiency of employees. It is the obligation of business to provide healthy and safe work environment for employees. Good working conditions are beneficial to the organization because these help to improve the productivity of employees and thereby the profits of business. Business should also provide opportunities for gainful employment to members of the society. In a country like India, we all know unemployment has become a serious problem and the government is unable to offer jobs to all. Therefore, provision of adequate employment opportunity definitely will go a long way. It will act as a significant service to society. So, the business firms should also promote employment. So, these are the social objectives. Next are the national objectives. The business enterprise contributes towards sustainability and upliftment of the nation, meaning to say that the business enterprise should also aim, along with its own growth, it should look into the growth of the nation as well. So, what are these national objectives? Big business firms are expected to encourage growth of small scale industries which are necessary for generating employment. Small scale firms can be developed as ancillaries which provide inputs to large scale industries. Business is expected to give preference to the regions, the industrialized backward regions of the country. Here, should remember business is expected to give preference to the industrialization of backward regions of the country because we know the regions are not balanced. Some are industrialized, some are not industrialized. So the business should give more preference to the industrialization of the backward regions of the country. Balanced regional development is necessary for peace and progress in the country. Imbalance creates lot of ill will in the economic system. Business should also use the nation's resources in the best possible manner. Here also, judicious allocation and optimum utilization of scarce resources is essential for rapid and balanced economic growth. It is the duty of a business firm to help the government in increasing exports and in reducing dependence on imports. This will help a country to achieve economic independence. So, an analysis of all these different objectives of the business firm shows that firms always keep several objectives before them. Of course, of all these objectives, profit maximization may be the most important. They may pursue a mix of different economic and non economic objectives within a framework of achieving certain social responsibilities as well. So, these are the business objectives. In the next class, we will discuss on the business environment. Thank you.